Webull Broker is becoming very popular and it's one of the fastest growing brokers over the last few years. Today I'm going to make a review and a tutorial about their platform, and you'll learn how to build your own layout to trade, as well as all you need to know to open and close your positions when you're trading. I will also show you the layout that I use to trade, the layout that I like to use, so stick with me and let's do this. Guys, we'll start with a blank layout. In this case, I'm using my paper trading account, which is the account that I have been used to test the platform. You can go to the customized layout, which is the one that you use to trade with your real account. I'm just using the paper trading account to test the platform. So this is where I'm going to teach you how to build your own layout. So let's start with a blank layout. You go here to the top right bottom and you click the plus signal where it says new layout. And when you click it, you will see that there are already some templates. You have these two white templates that already come with Webull. Then there are these other templates that are the ones that I already built. But let's start with a new one. So let's go to a blank paper layout. You can double click here at the top and change the name. Let's call it scalping, for example. And now that we have this black layout, this clean layout, we need to start adding widgets. We have here several widgets that we can add, and if they don't appear here, if this is blank like this, you just go to this corner where you have the add widgets options and you click there. And the main thing that we need to add is we start by adding a chart to our layout. You can see that Webull already has a default chart where it has a moving average, a 5-period moving average, but we can change all this and that's what we are going to do. So let's remove this moving average here. So now we have a clean chart and let's explore these buttons here at the top. This first one is about indicators. You can see that we already have here some of the most popular indicators that we can enable or disable: Bollinger Bands, VWAP, MACD, RSI, and volumes too. But we also have here another tab that it's called All Indicators that we can choose from. We have several here, and we have a second tab that it's called Edit Indicators, and that's where we can change the options of our indicators. So let's start by, for example, adding a moving average. We can choose a moving average from here, and this is what we have. This is the default 5-period moving average, but we can go to Edit Indicators. You can see that moving average, it's already selected. And now we have options to add up to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 different moving averages on our chart. So let's say that instead of having that 5-period moving average, we want a 20-period moving average, and that we also want a 200-period moving average. And we don't want more moving averages. We only want these two moving averages to appear. So how do we do this? We go here to Style, to another tab that we can see here. And in the style, we can check the moving averages that we want to see on our chart. You can see that if I uncheck this, the 200 moving average disappears. And on the right side, we have the option to change the colors to any color that we want. I changed to the same color as 200, so let's put this one in yellow or whatever. And we don't want the other moving averages to appear, so they are unselected here. And let's say that we want our moving averages like this, and let them stay like that. We also have a third tab here at the top that it's called Introduction, and this is very useful. I kind of like this because it has an introduction about the indicator that we are adding to the chart. It explains how the indicator works or what the indicator is showing us, and it often tells us what it's the classic way of using that indicator. So let's add, for example, another indicator, let's say an RSI that a lot of people use, And if we select RSI and go to the inputs, we can see that we can add here 3 different RSIs, but let's say that we just want one of them. And if we go to the style, we can choose which ones do we want to appear. So I can disable this RSI and, for example, enable the one with 6 period. And you can see that we have the 6 period RSI here. And we can also the same way change the colors to red, blue, or wherever you want to see on our chart. And again, we have the introduction. It teaches what the indicator is showing to us, and it teaches how it is usually used to trade. So for example, for the RSI, it's considered that it's overbought when above 70 and oversold when it's below 30. And we have the same for all other indicators, all the major indicators that are usually used by traders. We can add, for example, also a MACD, which is also very popular. In the case of the MACD, we can only have one on our chart, and here is where we set our inputs, the fast length, the slow length, and the signal smoothing. Then we can go to the style, and you can see that we can remove the signal line, for example, and we can remove the MACD line, for example, and here we only have the bar charts of the MACD, and then we have another introduction. So this is basically how we build our charts. Let's say that this is the chart that we want to use to trade. So now we have this chart here that already has all the indicators and the colors that we set on the options. And we have other options besides the indicators. Now we have the drawings tool. It's the second icon from the top left corner. And this is quite intuitive. We can draw trend lines, something like this. Then if we click this small arrow, we can put horizontal lines, vertical lines, extended lines. Let's put an horizontal line here, for example. And this is quite intuitive. We have a second option to draw parallel lines, polylines, rectangles. Let's draw a rectangle, for example, where we want. And when we draw the object, we also have the option to change its colors, to change its width, change the style, and we also can lock the object so that we don't accidentally move it from our chart. For example, this trend line here, it's not locked, so we can eventually move it, but if we lock it, it doesn't move, it stays there. So if you want something to be locked on our screen, you just use this lock button and it will not move on the screen if you accidentally touch it. Then we have some Fibonacci retracements. We have 3 different types of Fibonacci that we can also add to our charts. And for those of you who use Fibonacci, this is how we put them. We can also add some text. This is already full of things, but let's say that we want to add some text. And the text will appear there, and if you can add notes to your charts and things like that. If you want to clean your charts, you just have to go here, delete all, delete, and everything disappears. So this is quite intuitive. Let's go to the third icon, which is the line style. And the line style, it's actually about the candles. So we have the first option, which is a line chart. You can see that the candles disappear and we only see a line with the prices along the time. Then we have an area which fills, it's exactly the same, but it just fills the bottom part of the line. Then we have the regular candles that we usually use. We have hollow candles that put some of the candles with no fill in the body. We have the baseline, we have the bars, we have colored bars, and we have also Heikin-Ashi candles, so we can set our charts the way that we like. I like to use regular candles like this, so I'll leave it like this. And then there's a last option here, which is called the grid. And this is quite a good option because you can split your chart in several other charts. So let's say that we want two charts side by side, and you can add another chart here. Let's say that we want to add the Facebook chart, and it adds the Facebook chart here. Or you can have multiple charts, you can have 4 charts, you can have up to three charts. And this can be very useful if you want to have several charts and the window is automatically evenly split, so all the charts have the same size. But now let's say that let's go back to the one chart. So let's say that we already created this template and it took some time, but when we want to create a new chart, and let's say that we click here to open a new chart, you can see that everything changes. It went to the default chart again, and we don't want to have the same trouble again, adding the indicators, configuring the colors, etc, etc, etc. So how can we do this? This is simple. Let me just close remove chart here. And if you right click here where it says chart, you can select the copy chart option. And when you select the copy chart option, it creates a new chart that it's exactly the same as the first chart. And you have the same colors, you have the same indicators, you have everything with the same settings. You can come here at the top and change it, for example, to see the Facebook prices. It will only change the ticker, but you can see that the configuration of the chart is exactly the same. Then we have several other widgets here. I don't find these widgets here very useful, but maybe some of you may add and you can explore this. For example, you have the quote where it shows you the quotes of the stock or wherever you are watching on your chart. It shows the current price, the open, the low, the high, the volume. But I don't like to use this. I don't use this anymore. Then we have key statistics, which is basically the same as the other widgets, just a little bit smaller, and you can click here more and you have more information about the ticker or the stock that you are trading or that you are looking at. You can choose to view the time and sales with all the operations that occurred during the last period of time. You have volume analysis, you have an order book. I am not logged in with a real account, so it doesn't show you the level 2, and I think you have to subscribe to level 2 in order to have this. Webull offers free data, free real-time data, but the level 2 book, I think you have to subscribe to get access to it. Then we have a second tab here that in this case it's called paper, but if you go to your customized real count trade, it will show you trade instead of paper, but it's the exact same thing. And here it's where we can add our buttons to open and close trades. We have the order entry widget here, which may be very useful. You can set the strategy, you can set the symbol, you can set the side if you want to buy or sell. You can set the amount of shares that you want to trade. You can set the type of order, if it's a limit order or if it's a market order. And I find this more useful to use for limit orders and not for market orders. You can set the price, you can set when the order is going to be cancelled, so you can set it to close at the end of the day if the order was not filled, or you can set it to be good till cancelled, which means that it will stay in your chart, it will stay on your account, that order pending day by day until it gets filled. And here we can also set if we want to place it at extended hours or not. So this is a widget that it's good. I find it especially good if you want to place limit orders but not to use market orders. I prefer to use another widget to use market orders, and this is the active trade widget that we can see here. So this is my favorite way of trading, to use market orders. And we can configure all of these buttons. If you come here to this corner and you click active trade settings, it opens a window where you can choose what buttons do you want to see here. We have the buy market, we have the buy bid, we have the buy ask, we can set a customized buy. Then we have the sell market, sell bid, sell ask, everything that the same things that we have on the buy side. We can also have a field to set the quantity. And on all these order types, we can set the default parameters. Buy market, it's by default here set by 200 shares. We have buy bid, which is a limit order. You can set all of these. You can set the buy ask, the buy customized, the sell, it's exactly the same. So this is kind of very intuitive, and I think that you understand this very easily. Once we are done, we close this. And now we have our active trade window where we have everything set. We have the order settings. We can choose, for example, 100 shares if we want to trade 100 shares. And we can also set the amount of shares as a percentage of our account. So if we want to buy, for example, 10% of our account in shares of certain paper, let's say that now we want to buy Apple. It's something that may be very useful if we always want to buy the same percentage of shares comparing to our account balance. So this is something that can be used. Although I don't like to use this, I prefer to set my amount of shares. And then when you have open positions or pending orders, they will appear here. The number of pending orders and number of positions that already are open. And when you want to close all the positions and orders, you just click this close button here and it will close everything that you have open. But only for this ticker, for this stock that you have here at the top. More widgets that we can add. We have the paper account details. In my account, in my example, this is a paper account where you can see the balance, where you can see how much you earn and the percentage that you earned, and the buying power. And the buying power is relative to the leverage, and in this paper account I don't have any leverage. Then you have another widget that we can use and that I like to use, which is the orders widget. And when you have these widgets, we have three tabs here. We have the working orders, which are the orders that are waiting to be filled. Here it will appear of orders that were already filled, and you can see here a history of some of my orders that were filled. And then we have the cancelled orders field. I have no data here, but if you cancel your orders, it will appear here a list of your cancelled orders. Then we have another widget, which is the positions widget. And this one, it shows you the positions that you have open. When you have an open position, it shows you the ticker, it shows you where you open your position or where it's your average size if you eventually add it or reduce it from your position. It shows you the size, the amount of shares that you bought, it shows you the current P&L, the current profit or loss that you are having on any particular position, because this will show you all the positions that you have open. Then you have your account P&L that shows you your trading records for 1 month, 3 months, 6 months. I don't have 1 month of trading because I have only been testing this platform for the last 3 weeks. And that's how you can see your performance, if you are doing well or if you are getting losses. Here it shows the whole account P&L, but you can change to a different period. You can go here for custom. And when was the last time that I trade? I think it was in the 7th, last Friday. You can see here $476 that I made last Friday. And I even shared this on my Discord room. Even share, where is this? Last, okay, it's here. So you can see the trades that I took. They are the exact same trades. I traded LETS, OCGN and TLRY, and I shorted both I shorted LETS and I went long on TLRY and OCGN, and this is the profits that I got. And where are these stocks coming? They are coming from my daily watch list. Every day I share the watch list of the stocks that I'm looking at. And you can see here that on the 7th of May I was looking at TLRY, OCGN and LED, exactly the same stocks that I traded on that day. On the previous day my watch list was NMRD, OCGN, RKT and VXRT. And if we come here to the Webull platform again, we can choose another custom date. Let's say that it's the 6th of May until 6th of May, just one day. And we have the shares that I trade. There was one of them that I didn't trade. I didn't like the charts when the market opened. But I'm liking very much this platform. It's a very fast platform, and Webull is becoming one of the best brokers out there in my opinion. Let me just close this. And here finally we also have the classic trade widget, where we can choose if we want to buy or if we want to sell. We can choose if we want a market order and how much do we want to buy or sell. And we can also change it for a percentage or even for an amount of money, how much money we want to spend, and it will automatically calculate the amount of shares that you can buy using this amount of money. And if we change to the limit order type, you have again the quantity or the percentage or the money that you want to spend buying those stocks. We have the limit price, where we want our order to open, and here we can choose if our order is for the day only or if we want it to be open good to cancel, and if we wanted to have it on extended hours or not. We can close this. Then we have several more widgets that I don't find very useful. I don't use to day trade, but if you want, we have a news widget that shows you the most recent news, and if you double click here it will open a window on your browser and it will show you more details about each news. Then there are other several widgets that I don't find it useful for the way that I trade. Then we have some general widgets. I like to use this one, the watch list, where I can control the stocks that I want to trade. So I have here a watch list called daily watch list. This is where I put the shares that I want to trade on any particular day. Let's remove this. Then you have widgets to set alerts and to set some messages. And then you have another tab about the market. You can see the heat map, the shares that are red, that are green for the day. You can see top gainers and top losers for the day too. And this is pretty much everything. I'm not going very deep into these widgets, but you can explore them if it's the kind of things that you like to use on your trading platform. I'm just building a layout to day trade. And I'll show you now the layout that I use to day trade, which is exactly this one. So I have my daily watch list here at the left. Then I have a main chart, which is this one, and this is the one that I use to trade. And I have several other smaller charts. Those are the ones that I'm looking at, but that I'm not trading. So when I want to take a trade, and if I find any opportunity on one of these charts to trade, I just put it here on this main chart, and which is linked to my active trade window, and this is where I trade. And how do I do this? Do you see these numbers here? This small square with the number 2 there? These are groups, and you can link charts or you can link widgets so that they all change automatically. And how does this work? You have my watch list. You can see that on my watch list it's also set with group number 2, and you have my active trade widgets, which is also set with group 2. So every time that I select a different symbol on my watch list, you can see that we have Tilray here, it's changed to Tilray here, it's changed to Tilray here. but all the other charts became the same. This one already had Tilray, the other ones have the other stocks that I'm looking at on that particular day, and this one I'm not using. It's just here because sometimes I have 4 stocks on my watch list. I usually have between 3 or 4 stocks on my watch list. So I on this particular day I was not looking at this one, just at these 3 ones here. And these 3 ones here, they are not linked to anything. They have this gray button, this gray squared here. So this means that they are not linked to anything. Even if I change here now for OCGN, you can see that they have the same symbols. They didn't move. On the other hand, here it's update to OCGN, and my orders active trade widget also update to OCGN. And this is how I like to trade. Then I have some buttons here that are used just for market orders. I have one button set for 100 shares or another button set for 200 shares, and I can customize this depending on stock that I'm trading. So how do I trade? For example, I see this big green bar here. I wait for the price to break it, and I use these buttons to add and reduce my position. So I can start with 200 shares and then add more 200 shares and then add again more 200 shares. And when I want to close my trade, I can start by selling 100 or 200 shares at once until I completely close my position. And we also have this close button here, so if I want to close my position at once, I can just click this button here and it closes all my positions and eventually pending orders if I have. And this is pretty much how I like to trade. Here I have the widget of the open positions. I don't have anything open here, and if I go here to the orders tab, I can see if there are any orders that is working, that it was submitted but it's waiting for a response from the exchange. I can see the orders that were filled, I can see orders that were cancelled, I can see eventual orders that failed for some reason, and I can see everything, which is a mess. It may eventually be useful, but the most important tab that I use is this one, the positions here. And another thing that I use, you can see here at the bottom of the charts, you can choose the time frame that you want to use. You have 1 minute, 2 minutes, 5 minutes, 15 minutes. Sometimes I like to go to higher time frames to try to understand what the price is doing on higher time frames, and I use this small bar here to change the time frame. If you want, you can choose different time frames. You just need to start the time frame that you want to see, and it will appear here at the bottom of your charts. By the way, guys, when you add, let me just increase so that you can see it better. When you add a new time frame, for example, let's add the 2-hour time frame, you can see that it will appear here. After the weekly, monthly, it will appear here the 2-hour time frame. But we like to have our time frames increasing in value. At least I like to use that. The platform doesn't allow to drag this so that they can be in order. So the way that I found to fix this is it's to unstar all the time frames, and then I start staring them with in the order that I like to them to be. I have the 1 minute, I add the 2 minutes, and I can add the 5 minutes, and then I can add the 15 minute, and then I can add, for example, the 2 hours that we were adding before, and now the 4 hours, and so on. So you can choose your time frames, and this is the way that I found to put them in the order that I like them to be. So I like to use 15 minutes, 30 minutes, 1 hour, 4 hour, 1 day, 1 week, 1 month, and I'm done. And you can see that they are all in the order that I like them. Another thing on this chart, and I think this is the last one, is that we can see the extended hours. The market it's about to open, but you can see that the price keeps moving while the market is closed. And here you can see the night. This is the extended hours after the market closed, and this is the extended hours before the market opens. And when this light gray finishes, this is the time that the market will open, that the New York session will open. So if you want to see what happened between the close of the previous day and the open of the current day, you just enable this extended hours button and it will show you this. You can disable it again and it goes to the classic charts again. So guys, I think that I covered most of the options to trade to build your layout. Most of them are quite intuitive. I'm not going to talk about all the other options that we have here, and for example the screener, which is something very useful to find stocks to trade, but I don't want this video to be very long and I may eventually talk about that on another video. So guys, my final thoughts about this platform, I actually liked it very much, and Webull is a great broker that it's growing a lot over the past few days. And you can open an account with just $100. It gives you free real-time data. You don't have to pay for data like a lot of brokers do. You don't have to pay commissions to take trades, which is also very good. And if you use the link that I have in the description of this channel, you will get 2 free stocks from Webull. So if you liked this tutorial of the platform, so don't forget to hit that like button and smash that subscribe button so that you can support my channel and get alerts every time I post new content. Thank you guys for watching and see you on the next video.